Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Yep, once again, we're gonna get a little update here on what's going on with the chance for some wintry precipitation this week in the Carolinas, but also just an update overall on the day. So yesterday, um, not the greatest day just because we were sunny on Friday and it would have been nice if it had lasted. But of course, we started off with mostly cloudy skies because of the front moving through. We turned partly cloudy in the afternoon, according to the official data at the Charlotte airport. A high of 51. Wind was breezy at times, so pretty much shaped up as expected. But today, sunshine. We started off at 26. Ugh, it was cold. Of course, areas in the mountains had a feels like temperature at one point in the single digits, as expected as well. But this afternoon, we are warming up. So we're going to be in the upper 40s today. Again, not the warmest day, but at least we have the sun to accompany us. Monroe, Dallas, Kannapolis looks great out there. We have beautiful shots here. Luke saying that he got to 22 degrees at his house. Ooh. We did have a report of some upper teens as well up toward the mountains. Ooh, Joy in Wisconsin. I'm not jealous of you, Joy. 8 degrees, yuck. So today's afternoon temperatures, again, mid to upper 40s. We have Panthers back at home, Bank of America Stadium, taking on the Steelers at 1 o'clock. Wanted to show you, of course, is hour by hour, just to show you kind of the slow progression of our warmth today and the fact that the wind's still up a hair. When any time the wind is about 5 to 10 degrees, I would say that's a light breeze. So with the 47-degree temperature, there will be a slight wind chill. I think at the peak of the day when it's 47, looks like the wind chill will be closer to about 43. So again, I wouldn't say it's a terrible day by any stretch. But definitely if you're going to be outside in the shade at any point, whether it's the game or not, you want to stay nice and warm. And of course, in the sun, it'll feel a few degrees warmer. Just kind of wanted to pop this off here to kind of show you the afternoon feels like. Again, it's around the lower 40s right at 3 o'clock. But look at the mountains. Even though they were in the single digits today, it's unlikely that they see their feels like temperatures get out of the teens this afternoon. So pretty substantial cold for those areas of Ashwaubenon and Avery counties. And pretty quickly, too, after sunset, they're going to taper off again into the single digits, and we will feel overnight like the lower 20s because our actual air temperature overnight will be in the 20s too. So tonight, this morning it was 26. I expect us here, even in Charlotte, to get closer to 23 for Monday morning. Mentioned this in our morning newscast today, but yesterday I would have given our wind maybe a tie it back factor. This afternoon, it's more of an extra hairspray. Tina, no shocker, right? 26 in Charlotte, pretty non-shocking, right? That it got to 29, but hopefully you were able to stay warm. We love getting your reports. So Tina, Joy, Luke, please keep sending them in because, of course, you are our eyes and ears on the ground. And remember, if you ever get any cool weather pictures you want to share, you can always do that with the Near Me function in the WCNC Charlotte mobile app. So kind of an overall view, right, of Sunday. So we're colder, but hey, at least sunny, highs in the 40s. Let's talk winter weather. I mentioned this in our stream yesterday, but if you see me looking down for any reason, I just made some notes to kind of make sure that I don't forget to talk about anything. So let's kind of talk really quick. So yesterday, we talked about Brad's winter weather forecasting rules. 7 to 10 days out, it's pattern recognition. So will there be a favorable pattern for some kind of winter weather in the southeast? We still have a big check mark there. Yesterday was day 6. So we were talking about trends up and down. So yesterday was kind of a weird day because we had a lot of models trending more westward with its shift, which would indicate the potential that a lot of the moisture itself would even miss us. But that was more of the European model and a few of our other models, where as the GFS, we talked a little bit about how the GFS and its ensemble, so two separate, were kind of the outliers, but have had much more of a southern track as well as a quicker track. And that was providing still a really good chance in a lot of their model data that we could see some kind of winter precip. So yesterday we were up just a hair. I think today we're trending a little bit further downward. And we expect these things to kind of teeter-totter back and forth as we see these storm systems approaching. I said this on air today too, but I kind of think about it a little bit like hurricane forecasting. We get a lot of questions, comments, concerns, or even just feedback, about when we talk about the forecast track, right, where it's shifting west or east. You see those small little teeter-totters. Impacts, right? With tropical forecasting, a lot of it depends on exactly where storm makes landfall. Winter weather forecasting, I think, is similar in that way, as you have to have, the moisture positioned correctly, the cold positioned exactly right, especially here in the deep south, to get moisture. and cold that can produce some kind of snow. So the reason why I think we're trending downward is not just because of that slight track toward the west, but also the fact that the moisture looks like it's going to come in and be a touch too warm for the cold air. And what I mean by that is in order to get snow oftentimes is you need that cold air locked in place, which we are going to have. It is no question that we're going to be cold in the Charlotte area heading toward Christmas week. In fact, temperatures 20 degrees colder than average. And I actually think the cold is almost a bigger deal than the snow, or even the wintry weather chance. I know that saying that maybe is a little bit of a hot take, but the reason why is because it's so substantially cold. It could be our coldest air so far of 2022. And I think that's going to be a bit of a shock to the system for some folks, but I'm also thinking about people who maybe haven't been heating their home as much this year because of, inflation or just personal situation, the homeless population, places like that. So, just kind of things that we got to think about, as we approach this weekend with how cold it's going to be. So I kind of mentioned that, right, that our chance for snow is going down a little bit. You need the cold air, the moisture source. Oh, you need your moisture source to not be too warm. And there's a couple things that I mean by that. First of all, you need cold air right at all levels of the atmosphere. We talked about this yesterday with the warm nose. You need it cold enough for snow at all levels. If you get any kind of warm air mixed in, the snow can melt and it can refreeze and become sleet or freezing rain. But it's also that these storm systems, especially here in the southeast, when they're cold air chasing precipitation. So what I mean by that is that it's already raining and the cold air comes in afterwards. It oftentimes is a lot harder for that precip to actually cool down as much as it needs to. And those forecast events are oftentimes really low confidence. They're oftentimes kind of like this one: high confidence it's going to be cold, but low confidence in that we'll see snow or even see winter precip or what kind that we'll see. So again, our chance to see snow in Charlotte trending downward. I do still think we have the chance to see some wintry precipitation, especially Thursday night and into Friday morning. So let's kind of get more into it, right? So one of the big question marks still is, I mentioned one part of this yesterday, but how deep south the jet stream goes. A lot of that has to do with, the energy hasn't formed yet, and it's all the way well over on the western side of the country, if not even further. We have kind of two pieces of energy, one that's developing over on the west coast later on this week, and one that's kind of coming in from the south. They kind of have to come together at the exact perfect time. It's called phasing to again get that moisture stream. But also, again, we need that moisture to be cold enough. And right now, it just doesn't look like it's going to be. I actually wrote down this quote from yesterday, actually from Brad, just because I think it kind of speaks to the current situation. So right now, I would say our chance to see some kind of snow flurries, not even snow that would stick in the Charlotte area, would be about 5 to 10%, if not even lower. And Brad said, so it's easy to get excited, right, with that small chance to see some snow, but when the risk is 10 times greater that it won't snow, we have to remember that, right? So if I said it was a 5% chance that we could see some snow flurries or something stick, you have to remember that it's a 95% chance that it won't. And so if you're seeing anyone post snowfall maps, ice maps, sleet maps, anything of that nature right now, there are just too many question marks to know exactly what's going to happen. So if you see anyone posting that, you can kind of toss it away. Randy's saying that they're going to Pigeon Forge tomorrow. Hope they don't freeze. Randy, kind of depends on how long you're staying. I think if you're going to be there with this big cool down later on this week, I think you definitely are going to freeze. Sorry about that. So make sure you have the heavy coat. So we got that. Let's see. Okay, cool. Okay, so here's kind of an update on our forecast models. So here's the European model showing the chance for some snow on the ground from Wednesday to Friday. Pretty consistent, and it really has been consistent of some kind of snow in the mountains, especially Wednesday night and Thursday night. So I think we can kind of give the Euro at least a check mark over the past 24 hours now. Snow in mountains, rain and snow mix in the foothills is kind of what they're thinking right now. And the rain and snow mix in the foothills doesn't necessarily mean anything would stick. It just means that we could have a bit of a mix there. Notice that the GFS latest model run, is almost in perfect agreement. Now, these are the models that run every 6 hours. So the ones that we will get consistent updates from now, of course, until the actual event there from Wednesday to Thursday. The reason why I've extended this into Wednesday is because Wednesday night we'll likely see some snow in the mountains. But if we get a mix in the Charlotte area, so the metro, that would be Thursday night into Friday, just to kind of give you guys a better idea about that. So snow in the mountains Wednesday night into Thursday morning, rain and snow mix in the foothills. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean anything will stick in the foothills, but we could see some of that wintry precip mixing in. And then Thursday, snow again, likely in the mountains, but would likely melt in the afternoon because of the warmer temperatures in the afternoon, of course. And then Thursday night and into Friday, again, it's unlikely at this point that we will see snow in Charlotte because of that cold air kind of chasing the rain. But I do think there's still at least a chance that we could see a few flurries, maybe in the foothills and even toward the northern Piedmont. And I actually think, unfortunately, it's more likely at this point that instead of snow in the Charlotte metro, if we still have rain falling at the same time that the cold air is starting to filter in, I think we could see some sleet or freezing rain. And the reason why is we're likely going to be impacted again by that warm nose. So we really have to keep that in mind. But again, the European, the GFS, and the GFS ensemble in a much better agreement today makes me think a little bit harder, right? That the snow will stay mostly in the mountains. But again, Wednesday night, Thursday night, your best chance to see snow in the mountains. For us here across the Charlotte metro, kind of a good reminder too that when we're forecasting on that 7-day forecast, it's specifically talking about Charlotte Douglas. So again, Thursday night into Friday morning, chance for some snow in the mountains still, a mix possible for the Piedmont. Or mix possible, excuse me, for the foothills, and then maybe a few flurries mixing in for the Piedmont. I do, though, think, again, unfortunately, it looks more likely that we'll be impacted by the warm nose on Friday morning. So Thursday night into Friday morning. Now, what does this mean? It means that we would be more likely to see some sleet or even some freezing rain, which we know can produce black ice. Even if the rain is over by Friday morning, once we start to get um, even if the rain is over Friday morning, once we start to get cold enough, I think the black ice potential will be a pretty big deal. So again, we'll be watching that, especially Friday morning. Brian saying it's not going to snow in Charlotte unless you make your own. Brian, if I had to give if someone said I had to give a forecast right now, I would agree with you about no snow in Charlotte. But again, I do think there's at least a chance for some mix, if not some freezing rain or sleet. So again, just to kind of like wrap up what my current thoughts are this morning. Is that models are in better agreement today. Again, I showed you the GFS ensemble, and the European ensemble, kind of those forecasts there. Another important note is that yesterday the GFS ensemble had a 39% chance that we'd have an inch of snow on the ground, and the Euro had a 6% chance. And I told you guys that just to kind of show you the disagreement. This morning, both of them had 0. So again, these are patterns and trends that we'll have to watch. In fact, with the GFS ensemble members that Brad oftentimes shows you where you kind of have that graph, only 1 in 30 had anything falling in Charlotte, and only 2 of the 50 of the European did. So again, I know this probably is not good for any folks who like the snow, want it to snow, but it is looking very unlikely that we actually see snow in Charlotte this upcoming week, and again into Christmas weekend too. Thursday night, Friday morning, which is the 22nd into the 23rd, big travel day. I do think there's a chance we could get a mix, and more likely that we'd have some sleet or some freezing rain. Yeah, Brian, it will be cold enough to make snow overnight Friday into Saturday, but we just don't have the moisture. It won't be raining at that point. So let's talk quickly about statistics. Chris did a great weather IQ on this. That's over on our YouTube channel. But measurable snowfall has only happened 4 times in 144 years of record keeping. That's 1878 from 2022. So it's about a 1.5% years on record. So I would say this year so far, the chance on the 23rd has been slightly higher than that. But again, it's very, very minimum. In fact, it's been 70 on Christmas Day more often than we've seen snow, which of course last year was one of those years. And I just mentioned to Brian, of course, that we won't really see rain Friday night into Saturday. Here's kind of your rainfall map over the next few days. Again, we'll see that small chance of rain in the Charlotte area on Wednesday, but more likely, of course, rain mixing in with snow Wednesday night and into Thursday morning for the mountains. Then it's Thursday night into Friday morning that we'll be watching more snow in the mountains, that mix in the foothills. And of course, we'll be watching for that freezing rain and sleet potential Friday morning here in Charlotte. It will just largely depend, I think, at this point on whether or not the rain wraps up right by the time the cold temperatures arrive. And then notice that Saturday, Sunday, and into the 26th, 27th, the 28th, we've actually started to trend a little bit drier. So I did drop those rain chances. I previously had 20%. I've now dropped them a little bit more to about 10%. But just keep in mind that's past the 7-day marker. So we could see those rain chances bump back up. So just keep that in mind. So let's talk 7 to 10 day forecast. So Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, lots of sun today, 47 for the high temperature. At the peak heating of the day, our wind chill could be around 43 just because of the light breeze at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, more clouds build in, but the morning lows will likely be their coldest, at least for the work week. Mid 20s tomorrow morning, upper 40s in the afternoon. We see better chances for rain Thursday. And again, it's Thursday night and into Friday morning that we'll be watching that chance for a wintry mix, even across the Piedmont. And then we get so much colder. Christmas Eve morning, so the morning of the 24th, around 15, 16 degrees possible. Our highs will likely only peak in the mid 30s. And as we look beyond that 7-day forecast, Christmas Day, still in the upper teens to start, mid to upper 30s by the afternoon. And then you can see we slowly warm up a tad Monday and Tuesday. So that's the 26th and 27th. But warm up at that point just means highs in the 40s, right? Versus the 30s and lows getting out of the teens. So be prepared, everyone, for a very, very cold Christmas Eve and Christmas Day here in the Charlotte area. 20 degrees colder than average. But to kind of sum up that chance for some wintry precip here in the Charlotte area, it's looking less likely, more likely that we'll see that risk there for some maybe freezing rain or sleet potential on Friday morning. But mountain areas do see two bigger opportunities, I would say, Wednesday night and Thursday night. So of course we'll continue to bring you updates. I'm sure Brad will have a vlog out at some point later on today, and he MVP, right? So keeping us updated as he is off for Christmas. And so because of that, I will be filling in for him Monday and Tuesday this week. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow at 4, 5, 6, and 11 on WCNC Charlotte. For now, have a wonderful, safe, happy, and healthy Sunday. And of course, hopefully getting a big win for any of those Panthers fans out there. If you do have plans to be outside today, stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.